Hi friends, Laura J. Swan here. I want to wish you a happy Easter from my family to yours. It is Easter morning and I have a very special message I want to share with you from an experience that I just had. So it's Easter. This is a Christian holiday, and for many they are celebrating the presence of miracles and the presence of hope that the story of Jesus and the resurrection gives to many Christians around the world. And you know, I had a real blessing as a young girl. I was raised in a Christian household, but I also had Jewish roots on my mother's side. I also had a Korean niece and an African American nephew. And between all of those different backgrounds and cultural differences, we had quite a varied experience growing up. And my family really, you know, though I was born into a Christian family, I had an incredible exposure to many different traditions and, you know, have Jewish roots. So I have this blessing to feel like I get to walk between the worlds and to really dive deep into these different traditions and to feel what these holidays and these stories and these you know, the symbolic meaning behind what each of these different holidays brings. We just had Passover and now we're in Easter, and whether you're Christian or Hindu or Jewish or whatever tradition you come from, I think one thing that we can hopefully agree on is that there is a message of hope and miracles that comes from this Christian story, and that to be able to see past any literal interpretation into what the message is, and to even see into the message of what Jesus' life represented, that is the opportunity, and no matter what tradition you are celebrating. So I want to share what happened this morning for me that I really feel was no accident. I don't think there are accidents that happen in this universe. And it was something that touched me deeply and brought home the message of Easter for me. So I was on a walk and I just got back home, and we live on a cliff where we can see over a busy street, and the street has a curve that goes pretty close to our house, and I happen to be outside in my backyard with my daughter, and our yard borders this road pretty far down, but it does at one point. And so I can see kind of what happens down there. And as I was with Luna playing outside, I heard this terrifying screech, and I stood up and could see down what was happening on the road, and there was a man coming around the curve whose tire apparently had popped, and he started to spin out and went up onto the curb, and just by miracle chance did not hit anyone else in oncoming traffic. By miracle chance did not get hurt himself, thank you God. But I saw it all happen, I heard the noise, and you know, by the time I looked up, I saw the very tail end of it, of him coming up and kind of like his car finally stopping on right in front of our house. And it was within 5 to 10 seconds. I mean, first of all, the fact that he was okay and didn't hit any oncoming traffic was a miracle. And the fact that there was no joggers or runners on the sidewalk that he came up on also was a miracle, because there is very often joggers and runners on that road who are right next to the cars. And so, thank you God, nobody got hurt. But there did happen to be some runners passing on the other side and some cyclists, and then some cars started to come after this happened. And I was witnessing this, you know, within 5 to 10 seconds. There was 4 runners, there was 2 cyclists, there were cars that started to stop and just see if this man was okay. And what I witnessed was this rush of humanity to his side to make sure he was okay. And in that moment, there was no barriers, there was no, are you Republican? Are you Democrat? There was no, what race are you? What religion? There was just humanity. And this rush of love came to his side. And he was obviously very shaken, very scared, no injuries, but was just really, you know, obviously if you've ever been in a car accident, if you've ever had a near traumatic or even a near death experience, you know what those moments afterwards are like. Sometimes you're not in your body, you're just completely shaken. And the runners came over, these women that were running, and the race and the ethnic backgrounds doesn't matter in the story, but what I'll tell you is that there were different ones. And who knows if they were all American or not, but clearly there was different people of different backgrounds, and who knows if they were different religions, we don't know. But what I do know is that I saw an outpouring of love and of help for this man who was terrified and could have easily lost his life on Easter morning. And so I was in tears as I saw this. It was so fast that it happened. And as soon as he started to kind of come back to, there were cars were passing on the opposite lane, and I heard one man stick his head out the window and say, "I know CPR, can I help?" And another woman said, "Can I call an ambulance?" And the woman behind her parked her car and got out, and he was surrounded with people, and there was this one particular woman, and I'm bawling watching this because I just can't believe how quickly humanity comes together when we're called to. And it was beautiful. And this woman comes to him, and she's been there from the second she saw it happen. She was the runner, and she's stroking this man's back, and I see her and I think, God, does she know that man? Are they acquainted? But I could hear what she was saying, like asking about his family and does he need to call someone? So clearly she didn't know him, but she was treating him as if he were even her child, the way that she was stroking his back. And I was so touched by the love. I saw her, kind of rubbing his back and treating him as if she knew this man, and what he needed was comfort, and she gave it to him in that moment, not even knowing him. And I was outside for a while and I could see everything going on, and eventually an ambulance came, eventually a fire truck came, and she just stood there by his side and just held him and just stayed with him and even held his hand as he walked over to the ambulance and told him what happened, because he was okay, he wasn't injured, so he could walk around. But she stayed by his side, and so did this kind of slew of people, and they all made sure he was okay until his car was towed, until everything was taken care of. And this was quite a process, and this is Easter morning where people could very well need to be with family or getting ready for church, but they took their time out of their morning run and of their wherever they were off to that morning to help take care of this man and to show up for him. And there's so much negativity that we see on a daily basis about how divided we are. And what my message to you this morning is on Easter morning is that there is a resurrection of love within this time that cannot be stopped, and that no matter what our differences are, no matter if you love Trump or Obama or Hillary, that when humanity is called forth, there is love that is resurrected. And being able to witness that this morning and to see it with people who were visibly, potentially, maybe not, different from each other. That could be, they could not be at all. We never know from just looking. You can never know for sure. But assuming that probably there was someone in there who was different from another in their political beliefs or religious beliefs. But they were all there for each other. And love won. And so my message today is of hope, and to look for every day this resurrection of love that is still here, that we're still cultivating and bringing forth, and that we need now more than ever, that we need to give life to now more than ever. And in my heart, that is the message of Jesus, was love. And love thy neighbor. And if you go to the texts and to the teachings and the words of Jesus, it was to not be divided, and to, when you are insulted, to turn the other cheek, and to not be offended and affected by what the world thinks of you, and not to be of this world. Live in it, but still live from a place of love and connection. And that is what is being resurrected today is that message. And we all have a chance, regardless of our background, to trust in that and to cultivate it and to help spread that in whatever way we can, in whatever little way that you can reach out and give kindness and love to a neighbor that you may think is different than you or separate from you, in the way that I saw today. And some of you may be wondering, well, why were you watching all this and not doing anything about it? And the truth is that even though it was just below my house, it's actually quite a journey to get down to this spot. And I had Luna with me, and I couldn't. And I saw that he was so well taken care of. And though I watched every moment to see if there was anything needed from me of calling police, but it was just like that, like so quick that people helped him that I wasn't needed. And it was a beautiful feeling to know that I'm not the only one who would jump to someone's rescue, and there's other people who I know that would, but the common person just running on the street did this for another man. And it was beautiful to watch and witness and to experience, and to also just thank God that he was okay and that his family is not going to get a phone call on Easter morning that they've lost someone. So I was deeply touched. Now granted, I am pregnant, I'm a little hormonal and emotional, but I don't think that's really what this is coming from. I think that amplifies the touched feeling that I have, and the message that I believe we all need and want to hear right now in this time of division, and in this time of thinking that we're so different and that the world is going to shit. That the truth is, there's still the opportunity every day for the resurrection of love, and for loving thy neighbor and taking care of each other. And no matter what our difference is, when shit comes down to it, we need each other. We need each other. And there's nothing that denies that or can take away that fact from being a human being. We can't survive without each other. Okay? So thank you for listening to this message today, and I want to wish you with all my heart a happy Easter, or Passover, or whatever it is that you celebrate. I want to wish you a happy day of resurrecting love, and may I invite you to look at the ways today that love wants to be resurrected and brought forth and reborn in your life. If there is a strife or a disagreement or something that's been under the surface that's been holding you back from feeling a full sense of love and connection with another person, I want you to imagine that if that person were in this car today and you almost lost them, how would that change? How would that change things for you? And what would you be willing to do to show your love and to let the love and the connection and the truth of your connection be resurrected in this very moment? If you knew that life was so precious that you could lose someone at any second. That's the question I want to ask you and leave you with. And thank you so much. I love you, and happy Easter.